welcome back to another week of the Not Suitable for Work podcast for people who hate podcast, where we talk about anything and everything. I'm Dan.
There's people who don't have time for a podcast, not people who hate podcasts.
Then we will record that.
No, I like that. Just keep it.
Well, just you correcting me?
Yeah.
I try to give off like I'm this good host and everything, and I'm just not.
You're fun.
Well, I'm Dan,
I'm Jake.
and this is the crowd's fault. More like my fault.
No.
But today's episode is expectations versus reality in a specific form. Now, expectations versus reality, I mean, you can expect to get that big promotion when you go into work. They give it to somebody else. You're going, okay, you're mad, but you don't make a scene. It seems like we're picky and choosy on our expectations versus realities, and we're more picky and choosy and we're more emotional when it comes to the TV show series finale.
I'm so attached to that character. Why did they make them do this?
Exactly. Now, I've noticed from my Facebook in the coming weeks that anytime I make fun of the Game of Thrones fan base for hating their current season of Game of Thrones, I get a lot of vitriol and a lot of negative response back. But I thought about it. It's not just the Game of Thrones fans. This has been happening in TV going back since St. Elsewhere. St. Elsewhere, I think, set the standard in TV finales.
Subverting expectations.
Subverting expectations. You're better at words.
Dallas was also one that did this.
Dallas as well.
The season finale where JR gets shot and everybody dies, and then the next season it was all a fucking dream.
And then
just like, what? You just fucked me for an entire season, like 22 episodes, and now it's just like, none of that even happened.
And then after that, what happens? The TV dramas go down, the sitcoms build up, but how are the sitcoms ending? Look at Roseanne's first send-off. It was all a lie. It was all in her book. Seinfeld.
Super surreal.
Seinfeld probably had the most Seinfeld
that was the
ending.
highest rated watched season or series finale.
But you got
at the time.
But you got to remember, not everybody was happy with
everybody,
that.
For the most part, most people did not like it at all.
Yeah.
Like, what, they just end up in jail? That's how they... Well, and even the crew was just like, they were shitty people.
Yeah.
Like, it was fitting that this happened.
But most shows and most sitcoms back in the day were subverting expectations. They were subverting what you thought you were going to saw.
Right.
What you thought you were going to see. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. I'm almost like a month and a half with no regularly smoking intake.
You're doing good.
Okay, thank you.
You're
thank
doing
you.
good.
Thank you. Can I get a smoke? No. So this week, a lot of TV shows are either ending or have ended. Gotham ended, and
yeah, and you were bummed out about that.
I was
yourself,
very
weren't
bummed
you?
out.
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't think this was a question of some people found it good, some people found this was just straight up
universally across the board. Shit.
But how they had set it up was brilliant. They ended the show second to last episode, and then they were going to have a one-off Joker episode, and they did that, but it was terrible. And they finally put that kid in the bat suit. And it looked like a special need kid, like they dressed up a special need kid in the fucking... His mouth looked weird. His mouth looked totally weird. But, like, as bad... Gotham had a better reputation of being a bad show than having good moments. So it ended, I guess, the way everybody expected to.
Shittily.
But Veep. Veep had a series finale that I think every Veep watcher, myself included and Misty included, you've never seen Veep.
I know what show it is.
It's basically Arrested Development meets West Wing.
Yeah.
Where I say West Wing is what liberals think they are, Veep is what liberals actually are.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But their series finale was very, very dark and subverted expectations. But if you had been watching the show the whole time, you knew that there was no other way it could have ended. Absolutely great. So next week...
You want to spoil it?
Do I want to spoil it?
Yeah,
No, because I'd rather watch people... I'd rather see people enjoy Veep without knowing anything and just watch it.
How about you spoil it for me, and then you can just cut that part out.
Oh, okay. I'll spoil it. Okay, so I'm gonna spoil it for you.
Just put on a long beep, just to make it quick.
Okay, so here's a long beep while I explain to Jake the spoiler to Veep. But yeah, so that. Sorry for the beep, guys, but yeah, that is... So after hearing the finale of Veep, would you watch the show and get to that ending just to see that pulled off?
I don't know if I had the time. There's a bunch of shows.
Of course, let's just say this is, I mean, after hearing those last
episode, how much I love politics, Dan.
Well, it's Arrested Development meets The West Wing, and it's more Arrested Development.
It sounds kind of like the last season of Parks and Rec.
Yes.
But a way darker.
But way darker. Yeah. Exactly. But Parks and Rec, that was another series finale the fans were happy with.
Yeah, man. Well, you talk about like that. Really, that last year when they did the time jump. It was really kind of cool how they did that. And the way that they perceived how the future would be,
and a big risk for the show because again, people expect characters to go certain places, right. And I think that's the trouble with Game of Thrones right now.
Right, and that's what. But about Parks and Rec, everybody got a great send off. Everybody won in the end. You know, everybody wanted to see that because these are lovable characters. Whereas Game of Thrones. I mean, any person,
it's not even a finished book.
Any character that you like on there, just go ahead and count them being dead, anyways.
Yeah. Like, well, now I'm not gonna dog Game of Thrones, and I'm not gonna dog Game of Thrones.
No, come on, fans. You got a great rap of doing this.
No, I do, but I'm also turning people away, and I never mean to turn people away with my jokes. And when I start to feel that people are being turned away by my humor, I dial it back a bit.
Okay.
But Game of Thrones is in trouble with this upcoming series finale.
See, okay, so my parents were like 69 and 68. They binge watched this shit a month or two ago so they can get caught up for this season.
Yeah.
And they're not like super, they're not displeased with what's going on in the show. They're just like, you know, it's an ending. Like, end it somehow. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I know that I've heard a handful of people that don't care how this is going. They just like the show in general.
Yeah.
But then the whole spoilers, Khaleesi burns down fucking Winterfell or whatever the fuck it is.
I can beat that too.
You know, she burns down like millions of people and everybody's like, no, Khaleesi. But then she just had this character study that's been developing over 8 seasons, and she's just had the worst things happen to her. She's seen everybody taken from her. She's
the Dragon Lady, right?
Right.
Yeah, I remember her from the first season.
And this is all that I put together. I've only watched the first 2 seasons.
I've only watched the first season.
I'm on the internet enough to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are upset that she, did that. Like, they think that's out of character for her. But you're putting these people on a pedestal with such high expectations that if anything doesn't go
the way the majority of the audience.
Yeah, it's the crowd. But if they don't live up to that expectation that you have of them, all of a sudden it's just like, well, it's horrible, it's dog shit.
Yeah.
And we get that with movies also. It's the same thing with the new Ghostbusters movie.
You know what?
The fandom is flaky.
You know what this flack Game of Thrones is getting from its fan base reminds me of?
What's that?
How much flack the last season of Lost would get episode by episode.
Oh yeah, if they tore it down like that. Yeah, but they couldn't do that because it was like 20 some odd episodes. And an hour apiece.
Yeah. And the thing with Lost, I always say this: Lost was meant to be binge watched.
Well, yeah, agreed. And also, they didn't know where they were going whenever
the writer's strike happened.
So, yeah. And they didn't even have an into it whenever they fucking wrote the series, though, whenever they pinned it.
And that's where I'm going to give Lost its credit. There's no source material. Game of Thrones is in trouble because there's source material, and this is my opinion of the guy, George Martin.
Mr. Martin?
He's a very lazy person. No.
Writing takes inspiration,
Stephen King, it took 20, 30 years for Stephen King to finish some of his stories, but he was also writing other books at the time.
Under a different name, though.
Under a different name, but also writing books under his surname, But with this, so there's no source material on how it's going to end. So this is all the TV writers
HBO's just like, fuck you, we're making this money. We're doing 8 seasons.
Wasn't that a thing? Yeah. Where George Martin wanted them to wait until he finished, and they were like, no. So that already puts you at a disadvantage.
Right.
And it's good for George R.R. Martin because he can watch the TV, and if it gets a bad response, he'll be like, well, I'm not going to end it like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's the trouble Game of Thrones has right now.
Right.
Because no other show, you can look it up, no other show has had source material just halfway through, and then the show had to finish it off itself.
Right. No, I know that.
And now
it's unheard of.
And when you have a majority of your audience having these expectations, these Lost type of expectations.
And the tragedy of it all is because these people don't have the mindset of George R.R. Martin.
Yes, exactly.
So, in a way, I feel like they're getting upset
Well, no, I'll disagree with that because some TV writers now used to be comic book writers and used
to
be.
I understand what you're saying, but this guy has a whole world played out in his head. I'm sure he already had an idea of what he wants to do in this book. He just has to figure out how to close it off, like any good writer, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean HBO, they look like fools at this point. They're taking the brunt of all this. Pretty much is what I would have to
say.
And
another thing that doesn't help HBO or just Game of Thrones in general, look, was the Starbucks thing a mistake or was it a great PR move? The fact that I can ask that question means it was a terrible mistake, whether it was done purposely or accidentally. So you do that so that happens with the fan base.
I don't think it was done on purpose because it wasn't a Starbucks cup and you couldn't even see the fucking label. It was just a coffee cup. It's just shitty.
See, and that's my thing. Why wasn't it just reported as a coffee cup? Someone had to report it as Starbucks, and then Starbucks numbers.
Because all coffee cups look the same because they base them all off of Starbucks coffee cups.
But now it's a great PR move for Starbucks. Now it's a great marketing for Starbucks. So could you really say 100%? This was an accident. There's not a little bit of you that goes...
because it wasn't Starbucks cup.
Well, I'm just saying, but like... You know,
it wasn't a Starbucks cup.
It sure as hell looks like a fucking Starbucks cup.
I understand that. I get what you're saying, but they've even said that it wasn't. It was just a fucking accident. They didn't check the fucking set before they did it.
Regardless.
I don't see how the actors didn't fucking notice it.
See, that's my next point. The girl is
She's sitting right next to it.
She's been sitting, but then again...
Oh, we're filming?
But then again...
Okay.
And Misty told me this. Misty told me this. Shoots take hours sometimes. She could be sitting there not even thinking about the coffee cup in front of her. Of course,
yeah. I mean, because she doesn't have dialogue anyways.
But my point is, accident on purpose. It's terrible to happen in the last season of a show that's being so passionately defended.
Yeah.
By a fan base with all these expectations, made up their own hate. Like let's throw that out there. Made up their own hate. But that's just the Game of Thrones finales. We still have other finales. And we had movie finales, too. We had the Endgame MCU. We all know how we feel about that. It was excellently done.
Right. Masterful.
But there are other finales coming soon.
Or
Arrow. Arrow's coming up with its finale.
Don't care.
I know you don't care about Arrow, but we do have some listeners into the superhero world.
Well, I mean, I'm into the superhero world. I'm just not in the Arrowverse.
But I think that's the Arrowverse is going to be a domino effect. So it's going to be Arrow, then it's going to be Flash, then it's going to be Supergirl. So we have all those finales.
Man, Supergirl.
Hey, you know what? Honestly, Supergirl's not that bad of a show.
Yeah, I know. I've seen an episode.
Like, there are some episodes where it's like, I really don't need this episode ending where you and the sister are eating ice cream on the couch watching, Grey's Anatomy or something, and that music from the 90s is coming. Don't need that shit. Especially in an episode where you take down, like, I don't know, like Brainiac or something. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I need a heartfelt fucking moment, girl time at the end.
But we're going to be seeing those shows because now everybody wants to put their series.
What's one of your favorite finales that you've seen?
One of my favorite finales?
Like out of any TV show.
You know what I like? You know what I always enjoyed?
What's that?
Cheers. I always enjoyed Cheers finale.
Very good send-off.
Sam's love for the bar.
Yep.
Will never like no other love, whether it's Diane or baseball or what have you, or this luxurious life that he sees himself he can have. Nothing is ever going to take the place of Cheers.
Sam motherfucking
the one character that's like I always thought that was a realistic show, but as a person sober for 4 years, I could not own a bar. That is a completely fictional fucking thing.
That's just poor life decision on my choice if I tried to own a bar.
And you know why? The reason I love Cheers' finale, it's a great send-off, but like the episodes before that have you believing that Sam is going to go back with Diane, and it shows you that foreshadowing the train wreck of what their relationship's going to be should they get back together.
Yeah.
And then what they do, they subvert your expectations. Sam chooses Cheers and fucking stays. And then even in the Frasier... I don't know if you dug into this Frasier.
You're putting me to sleep just talking about the name. Jesus Christ.
Well, they did a spin-off episode where Sam still owned the bar. He didn't show up in the episode, but all the Cheers people showed up, and then Sam still owned the bar to that day.
Sounds like the best thing to ever happen to Frasier.
Your favorite finale?
So wait, you were like, 3 whenever the Cheers finale aired?
I did watch the Cheers finale on Nick at Night. I did binge watch Cheers on Nick at Night every single night for like 2 or 3 years just to see the Cheers finale back when I was like 10.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's very lame. It's very fucking lame. Don't just say
it. I was being for real. No, man. I love Cheers.
No, you were looking. You were thinking about something else.
I'm thinking about what my favorite finale is.
Yeah, you said that.
I'm not playing. I was being dead serious.
It's okay. I can be a lame ass.
It's
not
fine. Being fucking condescending.
I can take a joke.
Yeah.
I'm funny.
Oh. All right.
Your favorite finale.
So, let's see here. My favorite finale.
ER. You know where they should have ended ER when Anthony Edwards episode where he dies.
Yeah.
That should have been the end of ER.
Right. Yeah,
but we'll bring that up next.
Noah Wyle was the star of that show.
I know, but when Anthony Edwards dies, that episode is freaking amazing. Like, you have to watch him die in a hotel room slowly, no hospital care, because he doesn't want to have his friends take care of him. It's just fucking beautiful. And we'll bring that up. What house shows should have ended, you know? But after you
I have a hard time bringing anyone to light. I mean, I know the Breaking Bad was all right. Wasn't great.
Really? You think Breaking Bad was...
It was all right. It wasn't great.
And I think that falls under... I think people wanted more of a twist of Breaking Bad. I think people wanted both Walt and Jesse to get out
alive. Yeah. I mean, and also the whole thing kind of... It had some plot holes in it. The machine gun in the trunk of the car. Like, how'd you know that this was going to happen?
But you know what breaks that plot hole? You know what keeps me from going, well, what about that plot hole? And it's when Jesse strangles that fucking dude from Black Mirror. Dude. Just immediately starts strangling with that chain.
Fuck yeah.
But that series finale brought an apology letter out of the Lost writer, Damon Lindelof. He saw that Breaking Bad finale and then apologized for the Lost finale.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to write that.
Now, I can think back on the Breaking Bad finale and go, it's a good send-off, just like Cheers. Good send-off. But I can understand why someone thinks it's all right.
Man, you know what? I don't know. I can't think of a finale.
Like this is like...
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, I've always been a favorite to Cheers, the Roseanne finale. The first Roseanne finale.
Sopranos was good.
This last Roseanne finale where they killed her off. Soprano,
I liked it. I think it was fitting.
Fitting. It just goes to black. Lets you.
Tony was about to get whacked.
Here's the thing. That episode got a lot of shit too.
Oh yeah, you got mad.
You want to talk?
People like, what the fuck? Did my cable just go out?
Yeah. I don't know. And that was like an ending where the creators of the show went, you know what? Put your own expectations as the ending. We're going to let you decide in your head. And people the crowd still throwing tomatoes.
Always the crowd, man.
Always the crowd. So name a TV show that you feel should have ended a long time ago and what...
Simpsons.
And what episode of The Simpsons should they end on? You know where I think it should have ended? The movie.
Yeah. Definitely, but it should have ended before the movie.
I mean, honestly, that movie took way too long to come out.
Right, but it was exactly the style, humor, everything. Then
the first 6 seasons brought.
I'm gonna say we'll say season 2.5.
Ooh.
About halfway through season 2. Yeah. All the way up until season 9.
Yeah.
And then that's when they started losing their luster. What happened was all the fucking writers, they all went to Harvard. You had Conan, you had Al Jean, you had fucking Sam Simon, fucking Jim Davis.
I'm glad you know all the names because I think one of the people don't look at who is writing in The Simpsons in the early 90s and mid-90s.
They were the fucking brightest people. Like their jokes are all on point in every single one of those seasons. So many quotable fucking... Every episode you quote.
Conan, he wrote Monorail, which is hailed as the number one Simpson, but he also has like 4 others that are in the top 10.
Right.
Conan O'Brien was like a major piece in that writing.
His stint ran from seasons 4 through 6, I believe.
I always say seasons 1 through 6 of The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, even season 7 and 8, I mean, season 7...
That's when my love was
Season
dying,
7 is whenever you get Scorpio, when fucking Homer he leaves the radioactive plant to go work for the fucking Bond villain and shit. Like, they had a lot of good episodes in that season.
You want to know where my love went?
Where's that?
After season 6, South Park started.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I went.
Right.
Because South Park was changing
it dominated the airways at that time.
Yeah, South Park, I mean, Matt Stone and Trey Parker were like 18 to 20 years old at the time. They were cussing. This show was...
Oh, yeah.
Should South Park be over?
Yes, they want it to be over. They want it to be over. They're running the hashtag cancel South Park on Comedy Central.
They do want it to be over. You know what's amazing to me about Matt Stone and Trey Parker, though? They want it to be over, but they still put out good quality shit.
In 6 days.
Like, in 6 days. I can't say the same thing about South Park as I can The Simpsons. I don't think South Park should be over. But if the creators...
Well, because they're fresh, and they tackle social issues, and that's how they're able to do it because of the 6-day scheme, that they can take any hot topic in the news and make it into an episode within a week.
Yeah, and that's what we try to do here.
Right, yeah, exactly. We fail miserably.
We failed miserably this week.
So, I don't know.
This is the longest we've talked without that phone ringing, so I'm just going to keep it going. I think where South Park can't end now, though, is because it has great video games that Matt Stone and Trey Parker also work on. So it's like
they make those.
I know, but like, you know how much money you make if you have a TV show and a game, and what they do, they tie the TV show into the video.
But that's the best part. They're not really concerned about the money, because if so, we'd have like a live action South Park movie already.
I mean, we're probably going to have that in 20 years.
They did do a live action kind of half episode.
They did, and that was like one of the. I thought that was a really good episode.
It was well done.
But speaking of endings, when does this episode end? Let's just get to our final point. So this was expectation versus reality. Our finale point. Our finale point, yes. But this is not the finale of Crowd's Fault.
No.
Never.
Not by a long shot.
Not unless I get banned again.
Right. Or if I get any more death threats.
Yeah, it's always up in the air.
Yeah.
So expectation versus reality. Well, reality is natural. Reality keeps going whether the human race is here or not. Agreed?
Agreed.
Right? So expectation is brought upon by people. People being the crowd. Whenever you're mad at a series finale, just know that was a group of like 8 to 18 people, and that was their plans for the show. And that was something you fell in love with that was out of their creation, and they have every right to end it however they fucking want to.
Yeah, you want a better show, you write it yourself and get it aired.
Exactly. You want a better show, you write it.
So if you don't like the ending...
Write a different one.
It's your
fault.
There's
fan fiction on the internet that you can write your own ending to if you need to, but people are getting so upset over these series finales. You need to calm down and realize that the reason it's not good is 50% of the time is not the show's fault. Now some finales are terrible like Gotham, but most of the time, you, the viewer, it's your fault. It's the crowd's fault. And for another week of this podcast that blames you, I'm Dan.
I'm Jake.
And this is all your fault. Yep. Next week, we'll see you.